friends and travelers, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Long Rest Podcast, the podcast where we talk about games, movies, and just anything exciting that's going on in the industry. My name is Connor, also known as Sleepjie, and joining me are my co-host Joseph Anderson. Not that Joseph Anderson. We asked him; he was out of our budget, and Sean,
They just got me.
aka Diggy Sean. And invite my hosts to talk a little bit about themselves, talk about their favorite game and developers.
You go first, Joe.
Hi, my name's Joe. My favourite game is Bloodborne, and my favourite developer is, or I guess slash was, Team Ico.
Why was?
Well, Team Ico's not a thing anymore. It's I think Fumito Ueda. He was the head of Team Ico. He's created, I think, Gen Design now. That's the studio he did Last Guardian with, because he actually left Sony. But they've got that. I think I was telling you about it the other day. Actually, they've got that deal with Epic for the next, I think, 2 games headed by him.
Really?
Yeah, you did say something about that.
Yeah, seriously.
But they're not making like Sony games anymore.
I think it's Epic Store exclusive, or at least it's.
I couldn't imagine like a game like Shadow of the Colossus that's on PC.
Well, I mean,
Pray for the Gods. Pray for the Gods is coming out, I think, this year, right?
I was literally about to say. Well, it's been in early access. I believe. Do you remember when you came round and we played Ashen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna get Pray for the Gods when it was in early access.
I've seen this.
Right. Yeah. It's coming out on PS5, believe it or not.
Right.
All good. So Sean, what's your favorite game and developer?
I don't know about developer. Just in terms of like games, I'd probably say developer would be Rockstar, because they've always just been like perfect to us. Like, I wouldn't say like everything that they've done's been crystal clean, but there's never been something where I've been like, oh fucking hell, you know what I mean? Like, I'd probably say like a company like CD Projekt Red would have been like a pretty good company until Cyberpunk came out.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd say even.
No,
still...
I know that's a different conversation, but like,
it is.
I know, but like, you know what I mean. Like, something that's perfect doesn't have that much of a little hubbub around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Rockstar's always been pretty on the ball. And like, whenever they've got a new game coming out, you're always like, oh, Rockstar's doing a game.
Well, at least when it comes to the consumers, they have been.
Yeah.
To the employees, they're pretty shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's a lot of the case these days.
Yeah. And what about your favorite game?
Probably just I'll have to be basic and say The Witcher. I love the
3.
series. Yeah, The Witcher 3. They're all good, but like, you know what I mean?
All of them?
Yeah. The Witcher 1 doesn't have combat in real time. You know, The Witcher 1's an RTS, if you believe it or not.
No,
that's not a very good way of describing it. But you don't like click to attack. Basically, what happens is you click once, and then your character does an animation, and then once that animation's ended, you need to click as soon as you can afterwards to get them to do it again.
Otherwise, the enemy gets an attack in.
Well, no, it's just like you just try to do it as quick as possible. So it's basically just like click, 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 click. It's like a rhythm game.
Okay. A rhythm game? That is weird. Because Connor, you've played Witcher 2, haven't you?
Yeah.
Witcher 2 is not like that.
I didn't play it through to completion, but Witcher 2 was a lot more similar to The Witcher 3 in terms.
Oh no, I have a better way of describing it. Actually, it's more like a Dragon Age game. Where you choose an ability and then that ability happens, and you wait, and then you press another ability.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it's like. But the only abilities you have are left click.
I'd say it's very comparable to Dragon Age 2 in terms of combat. Maybe not so much Inquisition, but Dragon Age 2 was a lot more, animation oriented, like very flashy. Inquisition, I feel like, is a lot more of a classical, like it's much more of a CRPG.
I don't know. I always played that in the third person mode.
I mean, I did, but towards the latter half of the game, I did start switching it to tactical mode because of just how much I was getting my head kicked in.
Yeah.
And I found it to be a much more gratifying experience.
It's much easier to do that if you play it on PC. I originally played it on the PS4 when it came out.
I originally played it on Xbox. It's I've bought it on Steam on the winter sales, and I've been meaning to give it a reinstall. But
how much was it? Cheap.
Steam sales, mate, cheap as chips. I think it was only like £8 or something. Okay, well, yeah. Is that you done then, Sean?
Yeah. It's a
Hey.
gimme really with The Witcher. I've read I've almost read all the books. I've got a tattoo.
It's very true. Yeah, well, actually, both of you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who doesn't. I'm the odd one out.
Clean skin,
Mm.
free from sin.
Well,
So the devil gets in through the ink.
So my name is sleepjie Connor. My favorite game is The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, masterpiece, and my favorite developers are coincidentally Bethesda Softworks. At least before their their villain arc that they're going through now, but hopefully they'll have a.
It's gonna be a redemption arc soon.
Yeah, hopefully they have a redemption arc towards the end of the season. Okay,
Todd will sacrifice himself.
Throw himself off the cliff to save the rest of the company. Right, well, are you ready to get into the festive the topics that I have prepared?
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Well,
Let's hear it.
Let's go.
It's interesting that you said that CDPR was a whole different conversation because the first topic I have is on Cyberpunk 2077. Kicking off the podcast with a bang, we're going to be talking about patch 1.1, which is out now and has a ton of bug fixes.
Is that the one that just came out today?
Yes. It's
Wow, this is proper news, isn't it? It happened today.
yeah. It's
The day being, what's the date?
the 26th.
It is the 23rd of January, 2001.
That's the
2001.
2001.
It's the
2021.
It's the 26th, Joe. Oh no, it's the 23rd. What am I
Oh
talking
my
about?
Right.
All right, sorry. This isn't news. We're in the future. I'm in the past. He's in the future. Sean, I think you're in present day. You're probably best equipped to talk about it.
It's the 23rd of January 2021.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm actually in the year 2034. Starfield finally came out. It's nothing worth talking about.
Don't jinx it because
Honestly,
we need it to be good.
Well, it's interesting that we're talking about Cyberpunk now because now I have no expectation for anything Bethesda put out. None. I mean, and I didn't anyways, to be fair, but like it goes doubly so now.
So would you say that with the Cyberpunk patch that the game is now playable on consoles?
I haven't actually seen console performance. Shay hasn't booted the game up in a couple
She
of
has
weeks
it
now.
for. We should say she has it for Xbox One. Yes.
Yeah, like base Xbox One.
Base Xbox One.
But I mean, she's just as like much of a brown noser for CDPR as I am, to be honest, because
But a lot of people are.
It's been 33 days
Yeah.
since
well, I mean,
it's come out.
a month isn't like, internet news happens very fast. Everyone dogpiles on games very quickly, but I don't really feel like realistically a month is like too long a waiting time for a patch like this. But I mean, like even just like the patches that they released like a couple of days after the game's release on PC at least, it was a very, very playable experience.
I mean, yeah, like I've played it on PC and I've never had any problems. Like I get glitches all the time, but nothing that ever like stops me from playing the game.
Yeah, and
How
people.
about in terms of immersion, though?
Well, I mean, like I've played Fallout New Vegas and been immersed. Like I've played plenty of buggy games and still like found a lot to be immersed in. Like I think people are very, very sort of like nitpicky about these sorts of things nowadays.
Yeah, I would say like I'm almost at the end of Cyberpunk. I'm trying to do a lot of the side quests. I've got 90 hours in it up to now, and I'm enjoying it. Like I like it.
Yeah,
There wouldn't be a reason that I play that much of it. Maybe it's just because I like CD Projekt Red, but I don't know. Like I didn't go into it with any expectations, so.
I mean, I blitzed through the game in like the space of a week. I put like 60 hours into it in like 5-6 days or something like that. And like I honestly really enjoyed it. I think the game is like a solid 8.5 out of 10. For me personally, just in terms of the like the story writing was great. And just like people always like getting back to what we just said about immersion there. Like people complained quite a lot about the fact that like all these bugs rip you right out of the experience. But like when you're just walking through the streets and like
Night City.
yeah, when you're just walking through the streets of Night City and you're not holding like the dumb AI up to close scrutiny, like it is a very convincing facade of a real world.
Have you ever heard the phrase? I think it's wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle.
Yes, yeah.
Would you say that accurately
Yeah.
describes the game
Yeah,
well?
very
Absolutely.
For
definitely.
Cyberpunk
Absolutely,
2077.
it is very much a facade of an open, an immersive open world game. Like if you,
I think.
like if you just stand still, you'll see the AI. They'll go up a street and then turn around and come like straight back down. But when you're just walking past them, you don't notice it. You don't care.
Yeah.
There's a very like. I feel like there is something to say that like it's pretty disappointing how a lot of it doesn't work the way that you'd think it'd work.
Yeah.
How so?
Like I don't know, just in general, like this is probably just design of the game itself, but there's missions where you'll have to like go into a bar, and it won't tell you specifically what to do. It might just be like there's a guy in the bar, and he owes us money. Go get the money,
Okay.
and you'll go in and you go in the front, and you can just be like, I want to talk to the manager, and he'd be like, he doesn't talk to people, and then that'll be that. So then what do you do after that? You look around outside maybe for another way in, or there's a staff door. I'll go over and look at the staff door, and you go over to the staff door. You stood right at it. Nobody cares. As soon as you open it, everybody's on you.
Right.
I don't think I've had that experience personally.
I have.
Like with a lot of the side, like I was actually fairly impressed with the side gigs because of just like you said, there's like they have to sacrifice the quality on quite a lot of them because there are so many. But for the vast majority of them, I'm willing to say there's sort of like that like Deus Ex sort of pick your own route around it type of deal.
I feel like it is a lot like that, and I feel like as long as you're playing within the game's rules, you're gonna have a very good time.
Mhm.
But you need to learn where those rules actually are. And that
Yeah,
can be
but
difficult.
is that fun though? When you're constrained like that?
Exactly, but like then it's just the thing of like you can have a good time as long as you play within the constraints.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting because I know you spoke about Rockstar earlier. I think they have a thing where their mission design is so linear and
It's-
predetermined.
yeah.
But then with something like Red Dead Redemption 2, when you're out in the world, it is so immersive.
Yeah, I feel like it's just the thing of they need these story missions because that's just a staple of games. And in these story missions, you have set pieces and this thing happens.
It has to happen like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
and then they're kind of just thinking like, oh well, people like immersive game design, so we'll try to have that happen outside of the linear experience that we
Yeah.
know needs to be in a AAA game.
Noah Caldwell, he did like a 4-hour video talking just about all the Red Dead games, and he actually brought this up in a point where in the mission where spoiler alert by the way for anybody who hasn't finished Red Dead somehow,
Go play it. Pause this video, go play it.
yeah,
Amazing.
go play and come back 80 hours later or however long it takes you to beat the game. But
Fantastic. Game.
in the mission where you're storming the Braithwaite Manor,
Yeah,
it's like if you stray too far away from the gang because you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go around and like find a tactical position and like pick everyone off. Then the game is like, no, you're staying with everyone else.
Well,
I feel what you're saying there.
It fails the mission. You have to restart to the checkpoint.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh, you strayed too far. I don't know what the specific conditions are or like how far away you need to be. I don't remember the specifics of what Noah said about it, but the whole point of what he was trying to say was the game is trying to like ground you in a moment that should be shared with the rest of the characters because that's how it that's how the developers intended for it to happen.
Yeah.
If they had just said, right, here's a bunch of enemies, go and pick them all off however you want, then it would have just like totally taken away from the immersive storytelling experience.
yeah. I feel what you like with it's kind of like the Far Cry experience where
Yeah.
do you like can you name one companion from any Far Cry game?
Fuck.
No, I mean like one that you have to save, like your friends or anything.
From which game?
Like like Far Cry 3, of all your mates you have to serve.
I remember Oliver. I remember Oliver, the blonde one, but he was like I only remember because he was fucking annoying. There was
Eliza? Eliza? Is that his
just his girlfriend?
Jason's girlfriend?
Yeah, Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah.
I feel like in that way, like the game is separate from the story, but in Red Dead, the story is the game.
Yeah.
It's just weird because it's juxtaposed so much because you have this amazing emergent gameplay when you're playing out in the open world, and then as soon as you enter a mission, it's like right. It's like a horse with the blinkers on. It's like
Yeah.
There's a mission in Red Dead 2 where I think you're at the Braithwaite Manor. You're at some place with like cornrows, and you have to sneak somewhere or like break someone out or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're breaking out. And I remember it just being so open and like I was looking around, and because it wasn't guiding me or any specific places, I felt uncomfortable. Like I felt like, am I going out of bounds? Should I be over here? Like, should this guy detect me? Am I meant to get detected? Or should I be able to do this perfectly? Like, what does the game want me to do? And that kind of took me out of it, and it took me a bit to get used to it.
There are some like Rockstar mission design is very show and tell. It's very much go here, do this. It's been that way since like Grand Theft Auto 3. But like to their credit, they did start to show small inklings of like moving away from that, especially like in the mission where you do the house robbery with Jose, and Jose's like, right, do you want to do this at day or night?
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you can just like sneak through, and like if you happen to wake him up, you have to fucking do something about it.
Is that the way the mission works?
Well, yeah, if
on all of the home invasions, you don't have to like kill anybody.
Yeah, I never did. I don't think I did it without waking them up. I think, but if you wake them up, it doesn't fail the mission.
No, if
Oh.
if you wake them up, like you have to continue as planned. And also, I think you were actually telling me this the first time I ever played the game, Sean. If you leave the drawers or the chests open, and they wake up, they'll notice and be like, "Why the fuck is this chest open?"
There's a thing with the dog as well. Like if you go during the day, the dog will be outside and it'll bark and it'll just come out.
Yeah, no. So Rockstar, like, I think they do like they're sort of like self-aware of like the problem that they have with mission design. I hope at least for Grand Theft Auto 6 that they try and like move away from it in a much more they make a much more concerted effort to move away from it. I think it worked for Red Dead because Red Dead obviously was just so narrative heavy, and the reason why it was so much of a go here do this situation was because it wanted to engross you in all of like the story beats without like you straying away from it.
It's kind of like a Telltale game where they have a story that they want to tell, and then you get to make your choices within how their character would believably act.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to choose how you want to act; you get to choose how they are going to act, and that's it.
It's like in Red Dead you can't pick up prostitutes because that's not something that Arthur would do.
It's like the same. It's like how The Witcher does things. It's like you can roleplay. You can't roleplay Geralt any way that you want, but you can roleplay him any believable way that you think he would act. Like you can roleplay him very heavily how he acts in the books, or you can roleplay him just like as a little snidey bastard. You can roleplay him out, but you can't really go too far out the constraints of what Geralt would believably do.
And I mean, Arthur Morgan as a character, like he has it in him to either be a saint or just like the worst man alive.
Yeah.
He's a very brutal man, but he's not a man without honor, and so like it's very like no matter which direction you take him in the story, either as just this like merciless gunslinger outlaw, or like like a redeemed man by the end of the game, it's believable either way, and I think that's like just a testament to Rockstar's like masterpiece storytelling. But Grand Theft Auto games, I feel like their characters are just a lot more chaotic neutral a lot of the time. Like they are just out for themselves.
Grand Theft Auto is just in like a mock of the real world, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's not grounded in anything.
I mean, GTA.
Where Red Dead is kind of grounded in reality to a point.
Yeah, well,
but,
I mean,
GTA is just like taking the piss.
Yeah.
Satire of consumerism, America, all that stuff.
It literally is just like, haha, capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole shtick of like Grand Theft Auto's well design.
Like, wouldn't it be funny if we call the drink Spunk?
Ha! Social media companies are taking all of your data. This is so wacky. It's like,
Video games.
My son plays that very violent video games, turning his brain into mush.
I actually have we were talking about the mission design in Red Dead. If you actually go like I think now, like I don't know if you guys feel the same, but we see GTA 5 as a pretty shallow experience. Like we know everything that can happen. We know everything that can happen. We've done everything. We've tried everything out. We've fucked around with the police. We've spawned at the hospital multiple times after knocking people, just stabbing them on the streets. We've done all the hookers and everything, right? But if you actually go back and play the missions, it's pretty good. Like the missions are good, and you have little choices within those missions. It takes a very long time. It takes like 5 missions before you have to make Michael kill somebody after the bank heist.
Honestly, getting back. Sorry, did you want to finish that point?
I was just gonna say, like when you actually choose to make Michael kill somebody, he reacts accordingly.
Mhm.
If you have him just blat somebody straight away, then he's like, oh, don't look, don't look. But if you have him wait and like not kill people until he absolutely has to, he'll actually act more distraught.
Mm.
I didn't know that.
So getting back to Cyberpunk, this leads me to another point. People who like a lot of the criticisms that I see for people who say that the game isn't as immersive as CDPR promised are typically the type of people who are like, why can't I kill all the civilians and why did the police spawn right behind me? Because I feel like people saw Cyberpunk, saw that it was an open world like sandbox, and expected it to play out like a Grand Theft Auto or like Rockstar type game where they could just cause mass amounts of mayhem and that's like the source of fun. Like, if you just like wantonly kill civilians, like there isn't much fun to be had in Cyberpunk, but I feel like that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I do feel like that the CD Projekt Red's purposefully trying to make you not just go on rampages. Like, even if you just accidentally if you're going too fast in Night City and you run someone over, it's like, bam, 3 stars, max tax on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's like, they definitely don't want you to do that, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like, I don't know, it's difficult to talk about because we don't really know what the story was at CDPR, whether or not they talked about this kind of thing, but
they probably did, but like I feel like if they wanted to make a really, really good game that was just fantastic, like they would put in reactive things that react to how they play it. Like you would, it's just like it makes the game like intrinsically better. Like there's more stuff to do. There's people react. It's fun to watch. Like when you see the little things where they notice the little details and stuff, you're like, oh, that's really cool. But like they obviously just haven't had the time, and it's serviceable. Like you don't need that. It doesn't detract that much from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like there is something to complain about. You can be disappointed about it, but I don't think it detracts that much where you have to hate the game.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like I personally, like when I play a game like Grand Theft Auto or even Red Dead for that matter, I have no fun in just killing bots anymore. I find no enjoyment out of just like turning cheat mode on and just like randomly going on like a rampage and getting all the cops to chase after me. It's fun in set pieces, like, you know, like when you have to escape from the cops in missions, because it feels like, you know, you've done something that like has some sort of like narrative weight to it. But if you're just running around killing bots, it's like
I think it depends on how the game reacts to it, because Red Dead does a really, really good job
it does.
of reacting to how like what you're doing, whereas Cyberpunk doesn't. It just like it reacts to you completing missions, really, and that's it. But
even those reactions though, like the novelty of how well those reactions are staged, dies very quickly for me. Like
I feel like it just makes other people feel like they actually have an impact on the world, and the world feels real instead of a pre-staged thing that you're just playing along with.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you shoot, well, the only reason that you would mess with those types of things is because you know that it does react. So like, as soon as you notice that Cyberpunk isn't playing ball with you, like smashing into civilian stuff, you're just gonna not do it. But if I'm hurting for money in Red Dead 2, and I'm like, oh, I might just go rob the gun shop. After I reckon I can get away with it. I shoot the guy in the arm or something because I don't want to kill him, and then I come back a week later and I've got away. He's bandaged up and he remembers me, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And then I get the police after me in that town.
It only goes so
up.
far though, because he's still. I don't think you can ever make it so any of the merchants don't serve you anymore. Yeah,
they always have bandages on their heads, and as long as you pay your wanted thing, they'll work with you again.
Yeah, so it has. It doesn't go like really deep, but
yeah, but it's just it's cool.
I know, I like it. I think Red Dead 2 is probably the most immersive game I've ever played. Maybe
I feel like it's changing from like Cyberpunk is a game, but Red Dead almost feels like a simulation that you're stepping into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
that's what it's trying to do anyway.
There was something I wanted to ask you both. Actually, I should just say for the record, I haven't actually played Cyberpunk yet, but in the lead up to release, I think if you check their Twitter, they actually originally marketed Cyberpunk as a role-playing game, and then closer to release, they changed it to action-adventure game. And how accurately do you think that would describe the current experience at release?
Yeah.
Really?
You get.
Yeah. Seriously.
I think I think I'd class this more as an action-adventure game because.
Sorry. Go on.
No, just like there isn't that much roleplay to be had. You can build your character, like you can change your build. That's fair. There is leveling up in that sense and character progression. But I reckon even if I chose a different life path, I'd be pretty much playing the same character.
Actually
Yeah.
wanted to talk about that. I haven't, like I said, haven't played it, but this is what I've heard, so take it as you will. But there's 3 life paths, is that
Yeah.
right? Apparently, it only changes the 30-minute introduction, and after that, there is no consequence to changing
That's-
anything.
30,
That's not true.
30 minutes.
That's not true?
Yeah,
Okay, go on.
it's not true. 30 minutes is a stretch.
Whoa! Whoa!
Well, yeah,
I
the
thought you were going to say, no, oh, it changes loads down the line. Oh, go
well,
on.
there is that beginning bit, right? But then
Yeah.
there's also there's like dialogue options sometimes which aren't that big. Dialogue options aren't that good at all. Like, but sometimes you'll get dialogue options that actually let you skip certain things or do different stuff. Like if you're a street kid, you might be able to haggle for more pay from a job or something, or you might be able to shake somebody down. Like you might.
That's surface level changes.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But there are like. There are a couple of added in missions. If you choose the corp or life path, somebody fucks you over at the beginning. I think is that right? It's kind of
Yeah.
right, and you can get revenge on that person later on. And
Okay.
I played like the street kid guy, so I didn't get to do that. So I'm not able to play that mission.
All right.
One of the most like there was like a moment in the game where I thought to myself like, oh, the life path does matter. And it was like, I'm not going to tell you the context around the mission, but you're in like a swanky hotel, and if you pick the corpo path, you know, you've sort of been around these sorts of places before, and you, like, no one's supposed to know you're there, and so like you go up to the reception, and the reception's like, oh yes, I'll just ring upstairs and let them know you're here, and you've got like it has like the Witcher thing where you know that you've got like 10 seconds to pick what you want to say, and there's a corpo option which is like, oh, did I fucking tell you to do that?
Yeah.
Stupid bitch, what are you doing? And she's like, sorry, and then she just doesn't do it, and you can go upstairs. But if you have any other life path, as far as I'm aware, things can go a bit more sour.
Right.
Is that the bit at the beginning of the game where you're going up to the tower to steal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do remember that, and I think maybe Jackie or somebody. No, I think, or like maybe the woman that's attached to you, she like cuts the phone lines or something.
Oh right,
So,
well,
so it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the illusion of depth once again.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it's really good. It's a really good analogy. So go on.
I was just going to say this recently came out as well. Did you hear that certain members of staff at CD Projekt Red said that I think it was the 2018 trailer, the really long one. It was like half an hour.
Yeah.
Was it 2018 or 2019?
Yeah.
2018.
Did you hear that was entirely fake?
No.
It was made for the trailer. Like none of it was real.
I mean, you can kind of expect that from gameplay things like that. Like, look at Rainbow Six Siege.
I know, but it's not acceptable. It really isn't.
In the defense of Rainbow Six Siege, though, it didn't start off as an esports title.
I know, but still,
it didn't.
Like they showed one thing and delivered another thing. It's shady.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's become its own game in its own right, and now a lot of people love it and respect it. But
it's
just this fakery.
Yeah. Speaking of fakery, actually, this is on the document as well. There's been lots of comparisons to No Man's Sky. With you know, CDPR are actually being transparent, whereas No Man's Sky, you know, Hello Games were just silent for like months.
Yes, but they did work on it. Let's give them credit where it's due.
Absolutely. You know, I think everyone sort of heard about No Man's Sky's redemption story now, but how do you feel about CDPR's reaction to this? Like, did you watch the apology video that they did?
I've seen snippets.
I haven't watched it, but I read. I think somebody replied on Twitter. Like one of the developers said the video was pretty much lying, and they were blaming it on just people when they knew, like when management knew that they weren't going to be able to get the game out as they intended, and they were just lying in the video.
No, in the video, in their defense, they do like. I think like the CEO or whatever comes up and he says, you know, don't blame the developers. It was our call as management to release the game. it wasn't finished, but we just had to get it out. Or it was something along those lines. I don't want to paraphrase because I have only watched the video once.
I don't think that's true. Though I don't think they had to get it out. I think if they'd been more honest from the start and said, "Look, this is not ready."
Yeah.
The idea you have in your head of this game is so far detached from the reality. Just wait. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I feel like as a company, like their shareholders are. There's probably something like they promised their shareholders that at the very, very latest they would get out for the new console release, and I feel like that they've been pushed against the wall with that, and they've had to.
Personally, I feel like they should have made a lot more use with the goodwill that they had before Cyberpunk's release, because before everyone knew what Cyberpunk was like, everyone was on board with CDPR. I think that's a fair statement.
A lot of people see them as like the last bastion of like transparency, honesty, and pro consumerism in the industry.
Exactly, and so I feel like they could, like I said this in my video where I talk, like I look at the Metacritic reviews for Cyberpunk, which that video got so many dislikes, and it's like so many just disillusioned, fucking angry, like 0 out of 10 haters. But like I said in that video as well. God, I've just totally lost my train of thought. I knew this had happened at least once this podcast.
Check the document. It'll be alright.
Oh yeah, I said in that video, if CDPR just released a tweet saying, by the way, the performance is gonna be horrible. Please do not buy this game unless you are willing, like, to put up with it for a little bit.
Like they do with early access games.
Yeah, exactly. Like Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, when me and Sean played it, Sean, you can attest to this as well. Broken as shit.
Yeah.
Broken as shit. But
I feel like.
But
go on, finish
they literally said, by the way, unless you really, really want to play this game right now, please wait. And I feel like CDPR should have just done the same thing. They would have saved themselves so much hassle.
I feel like no big company has made the step to like try to just like put everything on the table, though, because they're either too scared, like that they'll just go under, or like they're getting held up against the wall by whoever's breathing down their necks, right? And they've just shut the bed. It's what happens all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever dealt with it before, so they've just waited and waited and waited and waited, and they've shut the bed.
So I personally think that we should get off Cyberpunk because it's been 35 minutes into the recording.
I do as well.
So this leads me to my next topic. Hacks. Not cheats, but people like Steve Jobs and Peter Molyneux. Industry hacks. Because a lot of people call Sean Merry a hack, even though he's like a seriously talented programmer. And games that promise features or significantly overreach are usually led by people with no actual idea of what they're doing. What do you guys think about this? Like the idea that like you could be labeled a hack in the industry and sort of get away with it. Like Yu Suzuki, me and Joe, we love Shenmue, and Yu Suzuki, he was really big for making arcade games, and
very successful with it as well.
Extremely successful. But arcade games and video games are like apples and oranges, and I feel like the hack label for Yu Suzuki is kind of warranted. That might be blasphemous to say because I love Shenmue 1's one of my all-time favorite games, but like with the release of Shenmue 3, you'd have figured that a man as knowledgeable in video games and experienced as Yu Suzuki might have had a bit more of an idea that maybe he should have updated the gameplay formula to be free.
Right. I was just going to say, before we continue, you should probably define what you mean by hack. I've got a definition here. It just says a writer or journalist, we can just replace that with any type of like game producer or anything, producing dull, unoriginal work. Is that what you mean?
I think it has taken on a different meaning, hasn't it? Because you can still make original work, but if it's just... if people don't like it, you can be considered a hack.
So I think you can be a good director, writer, or game designer and still be a hack if you choose to create these like terrible, lowbrow experiences.
So this is where I was going to go with this because I'm doing a Dead Game Society on Fahrenheit, which is directed by David Cage, and David Cage is
the infamous.
Yeah, he's a hack, I think, because he's a movie guy. He doesn't actually like he just has a very talented team of developers behind him. Like, as a game designer, he has no experience. Like, I was reading a lot about the development of Fahrenheit, and like it was a similar situation to Yu Suzuki and Shenmue. He pretty much his entire team had to sit him down and say, right, these ideas are very unrealistic. You need to seriously limit your your scope for this project if you want
Happens.
Sorry?
That actually happened. They actually sat him down.
Yeah, no, believe it or not, mate, Fahrenheit was originally going to be released in 12 episodic segments, like Shenmue was going to be. I swear to God, it was originally going to be released in episodic segments, and I have no idea how they were going to distribute that, whether or not it was 12 separate games or
God,
or what.
Holy shit!
Yeah, no, I'm being totally serious, and so his team basically
you get 12 CDs in a case.
Yeah,
it's like. Which chapter are we playing again, man? Oh, it's I think it's Matthew 3:16.
Oh,
where were we up to? Let me get the fucking boom.
Oh God.
No, I don't know David Cage as a person. I've not read anything about him or anything. He might be a terrible. I don't know him. I don't know him like you do, Connor.
Yeah.
But,
Connor went up with him last week. Did you go?
Yeah.
You went for dinner.
Wait, hold on. David, stop fucking calling me, man. Jesus.
I don't know him like you do.
Can we get him on the podcast?
Ooh, maybe.
Can we get David Cage on the podcast?
I would love that.
No, right, but from what I've seen about him, right, I think he tries to make games. Sometimes, a lot of the time, they're shit.
He tries to make interactive movies.
I don't think he has one perfect game. The best experience I've ever got out of one of his games is possibly Heavy Rain, but that was because I was a kid when I played and I didn't know what good things were, right? And the Brian Deckhart performance in Detroit Become Human, that is very good, but the actors carry the shit out of that. But I still think David Cage tries. He still makes really interesting games. Indigo Fahrenheit is still a really interesting concept. Very rushed at the end. But I still think I think you can objectively say it's a good game in the first half.
Oh yeah, for sure. The first half of the game is so strong.
Well, not objectively good, but
nothing's objective when it comes to games, other than Two Worlds. Two Worlds is objectively the best game ever made.
The best game ever made.
So believe it or not, this is something I bring up in the Fahrenheit video as well. I don't want to spoil everything I'm ever going to talk about in that video, but David Cage is apparently really racist and homophobic.
Is he?
There was loads of allegations from within the company, which were sort of directed towards David Cage.
No. Sorry, finish your point. I have something to say about this when you're done.
Yeah, sure. And so there was, I was reading this article, and it was David Cage was responding to this lawsuit that was levied against him, and he was like, "How can I be homophobic? I worked with Ellen Page, who's trans and bisexual." And then I was like, "Oh,
that's what I was gonna say."
I was like, "Oh, Ellen Page, you mean the woman that you put a nude model of without her consent?"
Well, here's the thing. I was gonna say at the time, Detroit Beyond came out. Elliot, as he is now, wasn't trans, and also publicly wasn't even gay.
Yeah. And
then after the fact that came out, and David Cage jumped on it, he was like, "How can I be homophobic? I had Ellen Page in my game. She's gay. Or Elliot Page is trans. How can I be transphobic?" It's at the time, none of that was public information. It hadn't even been disclosed. So he's just trying to use that information to make himself look better, but it's...
There was a much more general point as well on Detroit Become Human, because he was like, "Oh, well, how can I be racist?" Because I forget who the actor is, but the guy who plays Marcus in Detroit Become Human, he was like, "Oh, we work with him, and he campaigns for, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that." And it's that's such that's my friend is black, so I can't be racist type of thing.
I don't think there's any way we could really tell though. That's his private life. We can't, unless he says anything that we can explicitly be like.
Absolutely, but when the people around you are coming out with serious allegations that, then it's
true.
You can't pass those accusations off as, "Oh, well, we don't know him, so."
Yeah, but I also don't think that we can say for sure either way.
No, absolutely.
No.
No,
No,
I'm not. I'm not saying he's a good person.
Yeah,
but
we can't
we
like
don't know.
we can't blame or believe the
Yeah,
mob in these sorts
we
of
do.
situations.
We all don't know him like you do.
All right. Console shortages. Let's talk about console shortages because Joe, you have a PS5.
I do.
Was it difficult to get?
I had nothing to do with the process. My dad got it for me, so therefore, no.
Okay, right. So not very difficult, but I mean, is your dad a well-connected man? Would you say have access to the
Good
just got it-
connections.
He just got it through Amazon. I think he was just really lucky with the pre-order.
Okay.
He knows David Cage.
He knows David Cage.
My dad looks a bit like David Cage. He's just a bit less. He's a bit less bald, but looks a bit like him.
I wanted a PS5. Admittedly, I didn't try that hard to get one, but I couldn't get one. And it's kind of went out my mind now. I'm just not asked anymore. Like I want to play
Yeah.
Demon Souls, but I'm not that bothered.
Yeah.
You can play it. You can play it at mine. That's the only real game you're
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah, I was just about to say this as well. Like
Launch titles.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna say?
launch, I don't see how the consoles are flying off the shelf so fast, given that the launch titles are so limited.
They'll be flying
Yeah.
off the shelves because everybody wants the new console. I wanted one. I wouldn't even use it that much. I'd play for Demon Souls, but I wanted one, right? So parents get them for the kids as well, right? So of course they're going to go off the shelves, but as well, the reason that the shortages is obviously it costs them a lot of money to make them, and they're making them at a massive loss. So they don't want to make too many at one point
Did you?
because they don't want to overmake them.
Did
They
you know
want to
that
slowly. Sorry, they want to slowly build their losses.
they've because of COVID and everything, they actually. I think I read this. I don't actually know how true it is, but they actually produced. You know how normally everything gets made in China.
Yeah.
They actually made the PlayStation 5s in Japan
Oh, cool.
because of COVID and stuff. So obviously that's going to make them more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a big shortage of graphics cards right now in the industry.
Is there?
Yeah. Scalping has become a huge problem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hear about that every week now.
Yeah, same. Online marketplaces like eBay and Amazon, they need to do something about it because it's getting really out of hand. People are like the thing is that scalping wouldn't be such a problem if people weren't actually spending thousands of pounds on these things.
Yeah, if people weren't actually buying from
Or,
them.
or on a box or a picture of the console, it's just so listed for like £400. Have you seen that?
Yeah, God, yeah. I remember there was a bloke who bought an Xbox One for his son or something a few years ago, and his local CEX were kind enough to like give him a replacement one because he bought a £300 box basically. And that was cool, but like it's like you hear about stories like that all the time, and it's just like, are people not like wary to this kind of stuff nowadays? Like, do people like? I always read the descriptions of items that I'm buying, even if I'm buying from Amazon.
You know, you've grown up in this time. You're quite savvy with all this stuff. If you're like a middle-aged bloke who wants to get the newest console for his kids, like you're not gonna know, are you? Like you'll see the picture, you'll see the title, and you go, "Oh, brilliant!" And there's one in stock, brilliant. I'll get it.
I guess yeah, but being you know like savvy, I guess. I wouldn't say that's necessarily like an automatic prerequisite for like being like sort of like aware.
Careful.
Yeah, careful. Yeah, like you don't have to know that scalping's a thing to exercise caution when buying things online.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a good look though. Scalping's not a good thing. So
No, scalping is not a good thing.
I think they're trying to crack down with it in the law though, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
I think
You can't do music tickets anymore unless you're a licensed company. You haven't been able to do that for a while.
Well, you can't like Oh, do you know like Ticketmaster and stuff?
Yeah.
They only ever allow you because like basically they do a thing where because I think it's a bit difficult to get refunds. They instead encourage you to put it back up on the marketplace and sell it, but you can only sell it for face value. You can't like rip people off on the site.
That's good.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it.
I think that's right.
Speaking of really good things, if I feel like we're done with this topic, there's not really much.
Yeah,
to talk about.
I don't have much to say on it.
Resident Evil 8 unveiled the gameplay trailer yesterday.
Yep.
Pretty
have you guys seen
excited.
it?
I think so. I don't know. I saw one trailer, but I don't know if it was the
There's,
original
there's, there's a new one.
trailer.
There's a new one from like yesterday.
Yeah,
Because I didn't see the trailer with the booby woman in it.
Yeah, that's
it's the
it's a new
gameplay
one.
trailer. Yeah, I watched about a minute of it before I turned it off because I realized that I really, really want to play the game.
Oh, that's good.
Is it just
That's
like Resi
exciting.
7? I hope it's a lot like
yeah,
Resident Evil 7.
it's first person perspective. He plays Ethan Winters.
But I
Yes.
really don't want it to be like the Resident Evil 7 DLCs because they were so action packed.
No. The trailer made. I've seen the first one, Connor. You've seen more of the new one than any of us. It looks as if it is taking a more weird horror vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really hope that it recaptures at least the first half of the game, similar to Resident Evil 7, where it tries to be creepy for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it is going down that route, and I was saying this to Joe as well, not long ago. I really hope that like they try some supernatural shit this time.
It looks like it.
Yeah, because like pretty much every Resident Evil game has been like the T
A virus.
Yeah, the T virus or like the
Yeah.
T virus's brother, and they've all been developed by like 16 different Umbrella labs, and it's like
Nah, I think Umbrella's there to stay, mate. Resident Evil settled that.
oh yeah,
Resident
like,
Evil 7 settled that.
yeah, sure.
I don't think it's gonna ever be ghosts. It might take that type of effect where there's spirits and stuff, but I don't think there will be like ghosts. You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
It'll be a side effect of being infected
Yeah.
by the T virus or something like that.
yeah.
It'll be like energy or something.
I don't. I just want them to do something. I just want them to do something that isn't like, because you know, like the enemies in Resident Evil 7, they were creepy, but they were just like they were just huge, like
Yeah.
you know.
They were the molded, I think they were called.
Yeah.
Yeah, molded. Yeah, and it was like they were creepy, but they weren't like horrifying.
I think it was better. I think it was better than having it just be a generic zombie, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I think my point is that like we have a lot more fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like Blair Witch. God, the Blair Witch
Yes.
game was so disappointing because it like the
Yes.
idea of the Blair Witch,
Oh my
like
God.
when you actually watch the Blair Witch Project and you think about the concept of the Blair Witch, it's so fucking scary. You're in this like liminal space where like time is just like totally irrelevant and she has total it's a pocket dimension and like she's just this like strange entity that isn't like totally revealed.
Yes.
And you don't know exactly what she looks like, and it's so terrifying to think about. And I really hope that Resident Evil takes that sort of like abstract horror approach where you don't actually know what it is, because I
An
feel
interesting to say about Blair Witch just before you continue. Originally, you've seen the original film, The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
oh
have
yeah,
you?
of course, yeah.
Did you know that originally the witch was meant to be shown?
Was it?
Yeah. Have you not heard this? Right. So
No.
I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a scene later on in the film where they have to escape.
Just spoil it, mate. It's been out for like what, 20 years?
Fantastic
I've
film,
seen it.
They have to escape their tents. Let's say it's found footage for anyone who doesn't know, and the people who filmed it were just actors. They weren't trained camera people or
Yeah.
anything, which give it that really like homemade vibe, which I think made it seem so much more real. But when they're escaping the tents, it's sort of in like the last third of the movie.
I know. Yeah.
The woman who was filming, I forget her name, she was meant to turn the camera, and there was a woman in a white dress stood there. They'd paid an actor to stand there in a white dress next to the tent, and she forgot to turn the camera when they were filming the scene, and that was the take they used for the film. So
Yeah. I've heard that before. I did an essay
Yes.
for that film in my AS
so
film. course.
originally,
And I've
they
read
intended to give away a lot more, but by showing less, it did so much more for the
Yeah.
film.
You hear in the movie when she runs out the tent, there was
Yeah.
because what happens? I'll just big spoilers now for what literally happens if anybody still cares.
Right, so for the second time,
Yeah.
go
Right,
watch
easy spoiler on the Blair Witch Project, 1999. Right. But yeah, they had people shaking their tent from the outside, and then the actors didn't know people were shaking their tent. And then they had
yes,
that woman
It was-
there,
it was the
and when they
directors.
came. Yeah, when they came out the tent, they saw the lady like a bit further away, and you hear like she says in the movie, "What the fuck is that?" But
Yeah.
like the camera moves so quick, you don't see anything, and then they just run off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the directors. The directors, like I watched it. I watched like an essay on the movie, and the directors basically put them out in the middle of the woods. Said, right, here's the script. You're going to be doing this day by day. We'll drop off some food for you and stuff like that at these like
Oh, wait,
undisclosed
so
locations.
They were really just left with no crew.
Pretty much.
Well,
Yeah.
the crew was there, but like they couldn't see them.
Yeah.
What, they were like in the background, like just let
Yeah.
off?
Yeah, and like in the middle of the night, the directors had chucked stones at the tent just to try and get
Really?
reactions out of them. Yeah.
Yeah. At the bit that you were talking about, Joe, where the tent starts getting shaken and everything,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
the director's doing it.
That's fucked up, but really
it
cool.
really
Yeah.
it really sells it though, because like the Blair Witch
Yeah.
had the most viral marketing campaign like
Yeah,
ever.
people thought it was real.
And people were like seriously disappointed to find out it wasn't,
Yeah.
which strikes me as a bit grim. It's like oh, you're disappointed that these people aren't actually dead. It's like okay. But
Missing honey.
But yeah, no. Hopefully, Resident Evil 8 takes on that similar sort of.
Yeah, I am. I actually, I don't know if you know this, Connor. The demo came out on the PS5 yesterday.
Did it?
Yes, I have it I should have played it. I have it pre-downloaded. Next week, I'll give my opinions on it.
Yes. Okay.
Ooh.
Excellent. Well.
Resident Evil 8 Village, I think it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll play that for next week. I'm gonna play it with my sister tonight. I'm very, very excited.
God, yeah. I wish it came out on PC.
It probably
Yeah, me
won't be
too.
very long.
No,
the demo.
it'll be like what was that one kitchen for?
The first hour.
Yeah.
For Resi 7. It actually has a name in the demo.
It's called the first hour. The first hour.
No, for 8.
Oh, 8. I don't know. Sorry.
It's called Maiden. You know how 7 was called
right.
Kitchen? It's called Maiden. So I don't know what's going on, but it's cool.
It's probably that big booby woman.
Yeah, big titty.
Yeah.
What is she, witch GF? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen so many memes about her. Well, do you remember the Resident Evil 7 demo was actually a lot different to the final product?
Yeah.
Was it? I'm not familiar with this.
I'm pretty sure. So you know, there's a lot of mannequins in the attic.
Yeah.
I remember in the demo, if you like, in the demo, when you when you look at them, when you turn around, you look back at them, they move.
Really?
The little girl in that game was a lot more ghostly and apparition-y. Because what it was is, I don't know if you quite remember, but she infects the main characters, Ethan and Mia.
Yes, and she appears to them.
She can give you what do you call it? She can give you visions, and that's what happens. Like, do you remember? There's a very small chance that you can see the little girl on the stairs in the
never
demo.
got that. Oh, the demo. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a very small chance that you can see the little girl on the stairs.
That's good. I'll look that up. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's all like apparition-y stuff, visions.
I really like that
yeah.
though. Like the stuff with like the little girl and the mannequins and like moving around and shit. It gave it that like unknown spooky vibe.
Yeah.
But like once you knew that you were just fighting against like the mold, it was just a case of these are just enemies. You know what I mean? These are just enemies that I have to shoot.
They are very nondescript. I mean, even compared to zombies, what do they really have going for them?
Yeah.
The game does kind of have a very good job of like the power progression in Resident Evil 7 is like probably the best thing I've ever seen in any game ever. Really, you start off as such a little weakling with your little knife, and then you get like a pistol and you feel epic, and it's really hard to aim. But you don't know there's certain checkpoints in the game where it makes you aiming steadier and more reliable. You know,
Really?
And that's accounting for your character getting better at actually like taking control of the situation.
Yeah.
That is
Like
interesting. I didn't know
Like
that.
when you first start the game, you're really shit at aiming, but when you get through it, like when you're playing as Mia, you actually aim way better and everything.
Yeah, but
she had training.
She was an operative or something, wasn't she?
Yeah. Ethan gets better at using the guns as well through the game.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that works in Resident Evil 8 then. We'll all have to play it together.
That's
Absolutely.
what I mean. Like in the Chris Redfield DLC, it was literally just a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
I've played that. Not a Hero, I think it was called.
Yeah.
May 7th, 2021, Resident Evil 8.
Is that when it's out?
Yeah, May 7th.
Oh my god! Right. Well, hopefully, if lockdown's not on, and maybe we might even be vaccinated by then. I don't know.
I have no clue.
If
I'd love to meet up and play it. That would be amazing.
I'll be back home by then.
That's good.
Yeah.
if fate would be so kind.
Chance would be a fine thing.
Well, me and you I still need to do my first ever blind playthrough of Demon's Souls around yours, don't I, Joe?
Yeah. Sean, have you ever played it before?
No.
Yeah. Well, then you need to
I
play
know
it
about the ending, but I haven't played it.
And I do spoilers.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. We can talk a little bit about that. I don't have too much to say, but I feel really like jaded because I've seen people online saying, "Oh, Demon's Souls is the best in the entire Souls series," and I'm just like, "Is it?"
I don't think so.
Rose tinted glasses.
No. Even after having played the remake by Bluepoint,
Still rose tinted glasses. The mechanics of Demon's Souls are archaic.
it's okay. Like I like it. Bluepoint did a fucking amazing job.
Oh, absolutely. But
Like if I just gave you it now, Connor, and let you play it, you wouldn't think this is like a game that's nearly 12 years old.
Yeah.
The thing is, like the level design and stuff, and
Yeah.
I can kind of tell because I played the original that it's like, yeah, okay, this isn't like 2020.
So this is the thing about Bluepoint is that they might be like some of the best environment artists in the industry, but that's the only thing that they have going for them. Because what games
they
they
did really good animations. They really revamped the animations for the fighting in that game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But like, have Bluepoint ever made an original game, or is it literally just Shadow of the Colossus, Demon's Souls?
I think they have really early on, but then they got this reputation for being. I've heard you might have heard this before. It's quote unquote masters of the remaster is what is generally how they're described.
I'd say that's a very fitting title to them. Yeah.
They only seem to do Sony titles though. What's up with that?
It's just that they're in bed with them, aren't they? You know.
They are now. They're part of what's it called? PS Studios or something.
I have not. I mean, my point is that even though it wasn't in writing, they were still in bed with them long before that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you know, like some studios just have a certain affinity towards certain platforms, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's very true.
like even without a partner deal, like you know, what's Naughty Dog really like PlayStation their PlayStation.
They don't make anything for any other consoles anymore, or platforms, I should say.
Yeah.
They've probably got such a sweet deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
How much money do you think there would have to be paid to not ship to other platforms? Because if you think, Last of Us 2, Part 2, how many copies did that sell? Does anyone know?
I bought it.
How
In the
much money did
millions.
that make for one platform? If that was on Xbox, PC, does the deal Sony are giving them really guarantee them more money than those other sales? Or, like, how does it work? Connor, you'll probably know better than the rest of us.
Honestly have no clue. They probably do get compensated quite a lot. If we look at the exclusivity deal that Bethesda now has with Microsoft,
Yeah.
I'm like they're tiptoeing so gently around the issue of exclusivity, because like I'm pretty sure no, it's not Phil Spencer, Pete Hines, the CFO, I think he is of Bethesda Softworks. I think he's like the vice president of marketing. It doesn't matter. He went on an interview and said, "So we don't have to ship our games to any other platform that we don't want to." Like, I'm pretty sure that Microsoft, because Phil Spencer, Phil Spencer is a very consumer friendly guy. I feel like, and he doesn't really like exclusivity deals, but he is also a businessman.
Yes.
So I have no idea, because there really is only two sides to the spectrum. You're either exclusive or you're not exclusive, and so I'm not really certain how Phil Spencer's standing in the middle.
If you want my honest opinion, I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 will be Xbox exclusive.
I think Starfield will be.
Do you?
Yeah, I feel like Elder Scrolls is even though Microsoft have just paid $7 billion,
I think there will be something. There'll be a caveat. It'll be like Xbox get DLC a month early. Anything. They will get a little something because
Yeah.
I think didn't they say it'll play best on Microsoft consoles? What does that mean?
That's just the buzzword that every developer uses. Built from the ground up for Xbox One. It's like. You know,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. So you're telling me you didn't build it on a PC? See, that's another point. Exclusivity deals are fucking stupid because it literally isn't limited by technology anymore. You know, back in the days of the Xbox 360, it was probably a little bit more difficult to port one platform architecture to another.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays they're so similar in hardware and just in operating systems that it would be like ridiculously easy to build a game for two separate platforms. And I know it's because you can build, like, even with Unreal and Unity, you can build for both Xbox One, PC. Well, I mean, you can build for all three like major platforms: Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
I remember reading the PS3 was like notoriously hard to develop for.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read that.
I've seen that.
See, that's what I mean. Like, it probably was really difficult to port an exclusive. I mean, that's why Oblivion and Grand Theft Auto 4 came out on Xbox first, because because it took them like a year to port it to PS3.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh no. I think because the Xbox came out first, though. Is that not right? Because the 360 came out 2006 and the PS3 was 2007. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
I don't know. I think the Xbox 360 was definitely first. Let's have a look.
It came out first because nowadays they make it so close, it's virtually like indistinguishable.
So the PS3 was 11th of November 2006.
Was that worldwide or was that Japan?
Worldwide. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't Japan. It wasn't Japan.
Where was it?
But it was only like a few. It was only like a few weeks later for North America.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the Xbox was introduced a year before that, but then.
I thought so.
GTA 4 release dates. Let's have a look at these. It's a moot point, anyways. I don't even know why we're putting it under such close scrutiny. The point still stands that it was much harder to port exclusives back then than it is now. There's nothing stopping developers from porting things to other platforms other than business. I've always disagreed with their exclusivity deals, especially now that Epic Store are like trying to mooch in on the PC market and steal from Valve's like market share. I think it's very unhealthy for consumers. Good for business, maybe, but very unhealthy for consumers. Competition, like you always hear that competition's really good for consumers, and it is.
If there was no Xbox, then there would be no one keeping PlayStation in check, and vice versa. They would just have complete control over the market, so it just wouldn't be fun.
No. But I feel like Valve have been very responsible with the monopoly that they've had over the PC marketplace for so long.
If Epic pushes them to be better, though, then it's, surely that must be a win for the consumers.
I mean, Steam has had a lot of changes made to it in the last couple of years that have been a lot more pro-consumer, like
refunds.
Well, I mean, no, refunds have always been a thing. Refunds were a thing long before Epic Games were a thing. I think refunds were a thing when H1Z1 came out, actually.
Really? That was like 2015, I think. No, earlier than that, was it?
Something like that, yeah. No, it was
2014, maybe.
It was before we went to college.
Oh yeah, it'd be 2014, 2015.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, like Steam has had a lot more features put in, like just being able to have like animated profile pictures and backgrounds, just like
cool.
like small stuff. Steam has always, but like that's Valve though. Valve have always like made small incremental improvements to the things that they do over like long periods of time. But they've always been like those like small incremental updates have always been like significant in one way or another, and it's difficult to say whether or not like the improvements that have been as of late are as a direct result of Epic Games' competition in the industry. But I think I read the numbers, and like Epic Games does have a lot of like users, but it like the vast majority of them are Fortnite players, or
is that right?
Fortnite players or like Unreal developers.
Oh, right, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, which like both of those account for like a huge portion. I don't think there's actually like that many like they threw up a big number like we get like 30 million people a month or something like that.
Yeah,
that number could be totally false, but it was in the millions. And they were like, oh yeah, they were sort of flexing on Valve, like, oh yeah, we get 30 million a month. How many do you get, Valve? But then they're not taking into account the amount of people that A, are only playing one game, which is like kids.
Yeah.
And B, the amount of people who make games, which is like an a fucking uncounted amount of developers across the world. And so like Epic Games, like their exclusivity deals aren't necessarily paying off for them in dividends, and yet they still continue to push for things like what we were talking about earlier with Quantic Dream. Was it Quantic Dream? No, it was Team Ico.
Yeah, I don't know the details though, so I don't want to get into it too much. But...
Neither do I. But Quantic Dream also do have an exclusivity deal with Epic.
Yeah, that's right. Is it the next game that's going on Epic? Or?
I think so. Yeah, it all ties together. See, I've I've woven the topics of this conversation.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
No confirmation of E3 this year. The COVID pandemic is taking a lot away from us, and
yes,
the biggest of which for gamers is probably E3. We didn't get an E3 last year. E3's kind
of no E3 last year either.
No, we had Xbox, and we had Xbox.
Was it? Oh yes, sorry, it was the like YouTube live premiere or something. Yeah, I remember now.
And the Game Awards were a lot bigger last year as well because.
Can I just say I love Jeff Keighley.
But
I love the fact that he's still trying so hard to try and give us like a Game Awards show.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, I really appreciate him trying to keep the industry alive. I think I'm picking up on something you two don't like him, or
I appreciate everything Jeff Keighley does for the industry, but I feel like he's very disingenuous quite a lot of the time.
Really? How so?
Well, he's a presenter. You know what I mean? Like I was watching the Game Awards with Shay, and we were watching it live, and there'd be like an indie game, and he'd be like, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that looks really cool." Anyways, like I understand that, you know, he's on a tight schedule, like, but like he just he shows very little enthusiasm for games that he's like, "Oh, that looks very great." Anyways, Last of Us 2.
He's probably very nervous.
I don't know. He's a showman. He's been on stage plenty of times over the years.
All right,
I'd like to imagine the best of people rather than the worst.
Yeah, well, I mean, plus there was also everything that he did with Angry Joe. And, you know,
what's the story there?
I think like during like the first few Game Awards or something like that, Angry Joe like got on stage and like criticized them or something, and they had beef for a while. I don't know the full story. I'd have to go back and like look at the videos, but yeah, the I don't know, like yeah, Angry Joe got into like some beef with him, and at the time that I was a massive Angry Joe stan when I was like 15 years old, I was like, yeah, fuck Jeff Keighley, man. And like the sentiments just never really got away. I don't know. Jeff Keighley does loads for the industry. I'm sure he's a great guy. Yeah, I'm sure he's a great guy.
Anyway, we've gone off topic, really. I mean,
yeah.
I guess we all don't know Jeff Keighley like Connor does.
Okay, so no.
We all don't live in those high circles.
Does anyone have any predictions for any games or announcements that'll be made this year?
Well, fingers crossed for fucking Elden Ring, but I'm not hold my breath.
Have you seen that YouTube channel, which is like daily Elden Ring
update?
And
it's like day 112. There is no update for Elden Ring.
Thank you. Yeah.
One day he's gonna get like 1 million views on a video.
Whoa! Elden Ring! Yeah.
Have you seen the proper new mail pose where it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
He's got like the glasses and beard, but his head's like really tilted back. He's gonna be doing that.
Yeah. Elden Ring, I would love. But
Fable
what
4.
game was pushed back?
Halo Infinite. I mean, that's probably not the game you're thinking about because you're not much of a Halo fan, are you, Sean? But Halo Infinite was pushed back. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
No, there was a game that
was released last month.
It was meant to. I might be thinking about movies. Actually, I'm not sure.
Are you thinking of James Bond, No Time to Die? Because that got pushed back.
Stalker 2.
No, I was thinking about Shin Megami Tensei. There you go.
Which one? 5 or?
No, I don't know. I've never played that game.
The remaster for Nocturne.
I don't know. Well, there's Dying Light 2 Dying Light 2, we haven't heard about anything from that company since
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a dead game or not. They're saying it's not, but loads of the lead writers have left.
Yeah,
Not heard nothing.
one of the lead writers was from CDPR as well, wasn't he?
Little
Was he?
Nightmares 2! Little Nightmares 2! Little Nightmares 2!
Shay's just finished that.
It's out.
2? No, it's not.
You know, it's available for pre-order.
February 11th.
I think like I read that what you know like the Bloody Baron quest line.
Yeah.
The main writer for that was one of the lead writers in Dying Light 2.
Oh.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was meant to be a lot more like your choices in the missions, like had massive effects on the story, but I don't know.
Stalker 2. Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah. There was a teaser trailer for that, and like it was a teaser trailer. Like
Yeah.
I had a semi on the entire time I was watching it. Fuck me, I'd love another Stalker game, especially after watching Chernobyl. You know, like watching
Yeah,
Chernobyl
amazing.
proper put me in like the Soviet like mood. like Eastern Bloc culture is so fascinating to me, and I don't know
Oh
why.
no! You know what I'm looking forward to?
What are you looking for?
Right, there's 2 games. The first one is the Outlast Trials, the newest Outlast game that's coming out.
The new Outlast game coming out this year.
Yeah, 2021, I think, by
Wow,
Red Barrel
I-
Studios.
I had no idea.
It's about you know the Cold War.
Yes.
They're using like guinea pigs for what do you call it? Like, you know, what the fuck was that experiment called? Like, you know, like brainwashing experiments in America in the 60s.
The Russian sleep experiment.
MK60.
MK Ultra, yeah,
Yeah,
MK
oh,
Ultra
yeah,
experiment
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Cold War. That's what it's about.
Wasn't that? Yeah, that was the CIA,
right.
wasn't it?
That sounds really interesting. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. that
And
does
there's
sound really
also
cool.
Darkest Dungeon 2, which we haven't heard anything of for quite a while.
You
Oh.
really like Darkest Dungeon, don't you?
Hmm
I've been meaning to play it, but like I'm not too fond of roguelites anymore. I don't like Dark Souls is like probably like the most mainstream like Dark Souls is a roguelite, isn't it? It's probably the most mainstream roguelite ever.
Red Hook Studios Darkest Dungeon 2 teaser, A Glimmer of Hope, 21st of October 2020.
Okay. You looking forward to it then? I wouldn't say there's many like indie hits that I'm paired. Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah.
Coming this year. What's going on with that?
I have no clue. Like the gameplay trailers that are all up on the Steam page look fucking
Ooh.
incredible. Like
Oh. No, go on.
I was just gonna say I have no idea what's taking them so long.
Hey, look, it's a tiny team. When it's ready, it's ready. It'll be fucking amazing.
Darkest Dungeon 2. I'm gonna chat.
Oh, Epic Game Store exclusive. Okay. Right.
Got it.
That'll be the early access will be an exclusive, but the full game probably won't be.
System Shock 3 is in developer hell.
Is
There's
it?
a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
RPGs meant to be coming out in the
Yeah.
next couple of years.
That really, I remember watching the trailer and just being so hyped for it. Like it was supposed to come out 2020 and it just didn't, and my heart was broken.
Yeah, but COVID messed a lot of stuff up, let's be honest.
I guess, yeah, but I think it was in developer hell long before COVID even like really hit the US.
It's just exacerbated things though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely exacerbated things.
I'm excited for Persona 5 Strikers
Okay.
Mhm.
coming out this time next month.
Yeah, I started playing.
Persona 5's such a good game, but it's such style over substance.
No, it's good, man.
No, right. We all love that. You never see it coming. Like everybody loves that, right? And then it's like, and then you do like your ultra attack. But like,
All
would
out
you
attack.
play it? Would you play it if you didn't have that?
Yeah, I've played the other Persona games.
I know, but like they also have like really good soundtracks and stuff, and like
Yeah,
good
they do.
stylized.
I think.
Well, see, because Strikers is like a what do they call it? A Moe game, like Berserk and the Band of the
Oh,
Hawk
yeah.
and Dynasty Warriors. Is it?
Hmm
It's
Yeah,
that style
yeah.
of game.
There was. Oh, do you remember the Hyrule Champions?
Yeah,
Yes,
Hyrule
that was
Warriors,
another
yeah.
one.
And the believe it or not, the first game I ever owned on Xbox 360 was called 99 Nights, and that was another like sort of like Dynasty
Oh,
Warriors
was
hack
it?
and slash. Like I thought it was such like a sick showcase of like Xbox 360 capabilities because there was literally like hundreds of NPCs on screen. That was one of the big selling features for the Xbox 360 for some reason. It was like Dead Rising, hundreds of zombies on screen. Neverwinter Nights, 99 Nights, hundreds of like enemies on screen.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, loads of like cars and draw distances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. What were we talking about? I've started thinking about 99
Persona
Nights now.
5.
Oh
Persona
yeah,
5,
yeah.
our most excited games for this year.
My most excited game for this year is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
If it comes out this year, which hopefully it does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's there's a pre-purchase available on Steam. So it has to come out soon because people have spent a lot of money on it. Like pre-orders don't usually go out until like a few months before the game's due to be released, and the fact that the game has been available for pre-purchase so long, means that if they don't release it this year, there's going to be a lot of really angry people. Like maybe even like a mass refund wave. But yeah, speaking of Persona 4, I started playing Persona 4, and I think I had like a vastly different idea of what the game was going to be like.
How so?
I was expecting Shenmue, to be honest. Like,
really?
Walking simulator, like get to explore around the town sort of thing. But
no, it's a JRPG.
I know you run at such a brisk pace.
JRPGs are like such a weird piece of game. I don't know how it works, but it does.
It's so weird. I don't consider myself a JRPG fan, and yet I've played so fucking many of them.
Neither do I.
Just started getting into them, and I absolutely fucking love them.
Yeah, they're kind of time sinks, but sometimes they look really deep, but they're shallow, and sometimes they look really shallow, but they're deep.
Yeah.
It's hard to wrap your head around a couple of them, because sometimes you feel like you're missing something when it's not. That's just the game. With Persona 5 for ages, I thought I was missing something, but no, that's just the game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you thought you were missing something?
I'd do a dungeon run, and then I'd do something in real life, and then I'd do a dungeon run, and I'd do something in real life, and I was stuck on the dungeon, and I was like, what's going on? Am I missing something? But no, I just persevered, and I guess grinded a little bit, and I figured out what to do.
The starting I would say the starting 5 hours for every Persona game is always really slow, and then
it was really difficult in the first dungeon as well, and I quite enjoyed that, but it was difficult.
Yeah, it massively picks up after you do the first dungeon in each game, because you're always limited on stuff you can do in the
tutorials and stuff.
In your free time as well, when you're not in the dungeon. School, you're really limited on what you can do until you do the first dungeon, and then everything starts opening up, and then you're like, shit. The map in Persona 5, there's so many places you can go. A lot of them you can only go for social link events and stuff. But
I felt a bit intimidated because it'd be like, oh, do I just go in the bar and I study for an hour, but then I'm wasting the day? But I can go on the train in all these different places and I'm running around doing all this shit.
Yeah, it's up to you. There's a constant drive to be so productive, isn't there? You're never at home.
I love that though. I love games like that. Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. You just want to be out the house, just doing things all the time. You feel so guilty when you go home.
You feel in Persona 5. You feel like you're wasting time if you study. If you just choose to spend the night studying, just to put your stats up by 1.
Yeah. Have you played? Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's a good example of a teenage kid's life, though. Feeling like everything's so hectic, and you have to cram everything in.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of people's fantasy, isn't it? It's like being a teenager in Japan.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I mean, whenever anyone watches, whenever any Westerner watches anime, the most I'd say one of the most popular types of anime is the slice of life animes, just because people really like seeing what it might be.
Slice of life manga is my favorite genre.
Yeah, well, it's just a sort of peek into an idealized version of Japanese teenage life, isn't it?
I can't get away with slice of life stuff.
Really? No.
Doesn't interest me, no.
I can't anymore, but my stepdad really likes anime as well, and he's the one that got me into it, and he sort of brought me up on more action-packed animes,
so shonens and stuff.
Well, yeah, Dragon Ball was a really big one, but also just 80s, really cool 80s.
Akira.
Yeah, Akira, that's a really good one. Demon City.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, Demon City Shinjuku. I think there was one called Vixer. That was a 3D anime.
Connor, can I blow your mind for a second with Akira? Right?
Sure.
Have you ever heard of the art piece that is Bart Kira?
Bart Kira.
Yeah, It's called Bart Kira Nuclear Edition, right? Basically, it was this project by a bunch of artists, and they recreated the entire Akira manga, all the volumes, right? But with Simpsons characters.
Okay.
and it's very good. The art is very good, and every couple of pages it changes art style a little bit because it's a new person doing it, and like it kind of adds to the experience. Like, because you see these characters and you're like, oh fuck, but then it's like, oh no, it's Millhouse.
Let me guess. I forgot his name. Millhouse is the Millhouse.
You know that
the
you know that
antagonist.
scene after that scene after the after one of the bombs goes off and he's like sat in the destroyed building just crying and then the woman comes in.
Yeah.
That's Millhouse.
Okay. Have you, Joe? Have you seen Ghost in the Shell before?
I haven't. I've started watching the anime I'm watching at the minute is Attack on Titan. I've just started Attack on Titan.
No, Joe. No.
What?
Right. He's never seen Ghost in the Shell.
Oh.
Right. I mean, I think we should maybe put this podcast to a close very soon. Anyway, it's been going on quite a while now. But
Yes.
what are you boys doing for the rest of the night? Because I'm game to watch Ghost in the Shell personally.
I'm gonna go back and play the Resi 8 demo.
Oh.
Yeah.
And probably have more beer.
You're breaking my heart. Okay, well we'll have to rock.
I'm free all. I'm free all tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you want to blitz? Have you done all the questions that you were going to ask?
Yeah. What's left?
Do you
yeah,
say,
so
do you want to blitz through the last ones?
So we've talked about anticipated arrivals.
A little bit.
Yeah. We've all talked about games that we're looking forward to.
Oh, if we're going to talk about anticipated arrivals, I do want to mention one thing though, right? Disco Elysium, played through it a couple months ago, like a month or two ago. It was great. What is coming out on March 21st is Disco Elysium, the final cut edition, right?
Voice acting.
Yeah, what that adds is everybody that had the game before gets the update.
Yeah.
You get new quests, new characters, new clothes, new cutscenes, a full English voice act, right?
Oh,
The full
what-
game's going to be English voice acted.
What was it before?
It
was
was
it
just
just
partially
text?
voice acted.
Oh, okay.
Right, but the voice acting, right, in the game, all of your skills, right, I don't want to go too far into it, but all of your skills are a different part of your character's brain.
I haven't pre-ordered, so don't.
Yeah.
Don't
This is like a base thing of the game, right? All of your skills are a part of your character's brain. So the part of so the skill that makes you very strong will also make your character very aggressive.
so it's got an upside and a downside.
Yeah. So if you have like a high pain threshold or whatever, no, let's just say like a high physical strength skill, right?
So you guts.
Then like you'll be able to do stuff like you'll be able to beat people up and everything, but your skills will talk to you. Like your brain will try to convince you of things passively as well. So like, if your perception's low, or if like just very weird stuff, like it changes how the game talks to you, and all of that is going to be voice acted as well.
That sounds
So
lovely.
every different facet of the character's brain will have a separate voice actor.
Right, leave it there. I don't
Yeah.
want to know anymore because that sounds fucking awesome.
That would be
Yeah,
telling Joe, and I'd
the
do
s-
those spoilers.
The skills talk to you, basically,
Alright.
is all I'm going to say.
Leave it there
Right,
because that
And that's going to be
sounds
fully
fucking
English
cool.
voice acted. Also, they're adding an extra 150,000 words to the game and
Excellent.
full controller support.
Yeah, I've got it pre-ordered for PS5. I cannot wait.
I'm really sad I didn't buy during the Steam sales. I had it in my cart and everything. I tell you what, I had it in my cart and my phone wouldn't turn on because I needed to get like a verification code from my bank. So then I was like,
Yeah.
because I've only just got a new phone. I've been without a phone for the last like few months, basically, because like it will charge for like 5 seconds and then just won't charge for like the rest of the night. And so I was like, oh fuck this! I'll just get it on G2A, and like now I don't have the money to buy it, and I'm really upset. Okay.
I would heavily recommend anybody play Disco Elysium.
Yes, I definitely plan on it. So, game of the week. I suppose we've already really kind of been speaking about this, haven't we?
Yeah, maybe a little.
Do you want to just quickly say what we've been playing?
I personally,
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of multiplayer games, but I don't really like talking about them because I play them all the time, anyways. But single player games, I've actually been really enjoying Control. Joe got me for Christmas. When it came out, I had no intention of playing it because I was like, I'm not really that big a fan of Remedy. Like I did like Alan Wake.
Feel the same.
I did like Alan Wake. Quantic Break didn't interest me in the slightest. And when Control came out, I was just kind of like, it's a Quantic Dream. It's a Remedy game. Yeah.
Rent free.
Rent free. But now that I'm actually playing it, like the story is like serviceable. I don't really care about Jessie or like her brother, but the whole like the setting, like the SCP sort of vibe of the bureau.
The oldest house.
Yeah, the oldest housemate. It's like in like
amazing.
the board. And it's the combat and everything. Everything is just so fucking well designed. It has great art direction. It really pulls you in. The combat is fantastic. I really enjoy the gameplay of it.
It's one of the few games I've ever played where I actually actively went out of my way to read all the documents because it interests me that much.
I've been doing that. I've been
yeah,
reading
it's
about
good,
all
isn't
the
it?
And like when you can find like I'm not too big a fan of Remedy's insistence on having live action actors.
Oh yeah.
But it really bugged out when I played it. The animations were all off. I played it on PS4, by the way, if anyone was wondering.
How was the performance generally, though?
Shit. It was really bad. It wasn't even frame drops. It would freeze up.
Yeah.
If there was a lot going on screen.
Believe it or not, I've actually had that a couple of times.
Really? It was when I was doing big attacks. You've got like get the name for them, but you've got all the like powers and stuff. If there was a lot of like particle effects and collisions, it would just totally freeze the game for like a second maybe, and then it would come back.
I had the same experience, but maybe like quite a bit worse because I was playing it on PS Now.
Oh God, no bastard!
That's terrible. I remember, God.
It was fine, but as soon as I'd hit action scenes, like if an enemy came in, it'd screen tear for a second. As if like I was playing RuneScape in 1998 or something.
Yeah.
The art direction carried it for me though, because like that sort of like brutalist like 80s design score. It looks so damn good.
Yeah,
like it's so amazing.
Well, it is very much like Cold War era, isn't it? Cold War FBI.
It reminded me of watching Chernobyl.
Okay.
Did you get that? I don't know. It reminded me a bit of Chernobyl.
I know what you mean. Like the very white, clean,
nondescript, grey. Just like it really reminded me of
like concrete government build.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
I really love the art direction.
Yeah, it's good. There's some areas later on in the game which look phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
that's my game of the week, Joe.
I haven't played that much, if I'm being honest. I have started playing or reading. I'm not really sure of the nomenclature, but Steins Gate, the visual novel.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's about all that I've played this week. But yeah, I've done the first chapter for Steins Gate, and it's fucking weird.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I think I told you about this the other night. It goes really deep into the physics side of it, though. I'm not sure if any of it's actually like grounded in reality or not, and it's true. But if you're interested in science and you want like a sci-fi game that's really like plausible, it seems to go really far into like backing it up with all the science behind it. But yeah, it's cool. The characters are it's juxtaposed because the characters are so crazy. But yeah, it's good.
Does any of it make sense to a biochemist like yourself?
No fucking. Not at all. It's good though.
Sean, game of the week.
I was from playing a lot of Dark Souls 3. Obviously I've played it on and off since it's come out, but it's the only time I've properly sat down and played it through like a way that I wouldn't.
Release.
Yeah, I finished it when it came out. I finished it like twice already, but I always just come on and off it and just like make a little random character. But I'll always just make what I've always made, like knight, sword, shield. This time I've played a pyromancer with a two-handed weapon, and I'm quite enjoying it.
I watched him play earlier, and you've gone for some really like weird weapons, haven't you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like cool builds and stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Right. Well, I think we can wrap this up. Thank you for everyone who's stayed up to this far.
Yes.
This has been the first ever episode of The Long Rest. Hopefully we can keep doing this week after week. We're not really expecting this video to get any views, but it's always great for us to just come together like this one so we can just talk like this.
It was nice to chat. I mean, this is the first time us three have spoken together for months, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
I haven't actually had a drink like this for like months.
Yeah. Really?
Well, next week I'll definitely get some beers in and the Dutch courage will get flowing.
Well, don't let us be a negative influence.
Well, no, I'd like to spit some more negative opinions about David Cage, but I'd like to be less. I'd like to be a lot less articulate and more brutish about it.
Yeah, you get pretty clammy when you're not drunk because you know he's just in the next room.
Next room, he's up here, Sean. He's always up here.
He's in the bed behind you, isn't he?
He's looking through my window right now.
He's like, "Oi, you talking about me?"
I'm not racist.
Have you played Heavy Rain? That was like Italian.
All right.
Right. Well, we're never getting him on the show now. Thanks, Joe.
Sorry, Davies.
God, how is he going to respond to my emails now if you're talking about this? Right, well,
Not on.
thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to tune in to the next week's episode where we'll be talking about. Well, actually, no, let's not spoil it.
More highbrow philosophical.
Well,
discussion.
we need to give them something to reel them back in for next week.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking. I did have one topic here that we haven't went over, but this has went on a long time now. We're going to be talking about Rust.
Oh.
Yeah. So look forward to that next week, as well as many other topics. We'll probably talk about Cyberpunk for the first hour again.
Yeah.
Until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all soon.